Hello everybody, this is Kirsho here. Now then, whenever we last left off, Deku and Mei, they had just been talking, and actually getting a bit closer than they've already been. Actually, becoming a couple. As everyone's just hanging out. Now, the reason why Deku was able to get most of his mechs operational, along with showing off Ronin and Legion, was Deku somewhat was trying to figure out how to get Legion's combat abilities up to date and somewhat improved because finding a way around his lethal force is a bit more difficult. Along with the idea that Ronin, the other one, he was, well, somewhat still in the works. Deku finishing up Legion and him in the last couple days. Because usually he would make blueprints, see what he could do with them, and if he didn't really feel like working on the project, he'd put it away and start another one. But he would eventually come back to it. Now, Deku, he's showing off Legion to a lot of people, and, well, Kaminari has tried using it, albeit having BT basically keeping him on his feet. Now then, this is whenever Momo, she would just ask Deku exactly how has he been. Since people kinda understand what happened to him. Deku, he would just somewhat look away, he would just say that he's been fine. Actually, he's been a lot better since, well, the last couple of days. Besides, he actually does plan on getting better and somewhat improving his own tech, as he would get a phone call. This would be his dad, as Deku, he would just say that he'll be going for right now, as him and Mei would walk away. Deku, he would just tell BT to keep an eye on them and to make sure that they don't go out of control with his tech. To which BT would respond, yes, pilot. Now then, Deku, he is walking back to the lab as he would walk inside. As soon as he does so, his dad would show him something a bit different. He would say that this is smaller and more compact. It should connect to the nervous system in your spine and help you, along with connecting to a portion of your bloodstream. If you can properly use your quirk to use the technology, you can possibly help yourself heal. Now, I was talking with the doctors and they said that your, well, form of paralysis and broken back, your back would heal. Your paralysis, that was a risky chance. They would say that there's a chance, but you possibly have to do physical therapy. And, well, you're ambitious, so I knew you wouldn't wait. You'd hurt yourself far beyond what you can think possible if I didn't help you. So, as his dad would just hold it up, saying that this is new and improved. It doesn't connect to as much as the other one, but, well, using your quirk, you'll be able to create more nanites, and actually increase the ones in your system. This, however, is not recommended to be overused, or, well, taken advantage of. Because if you go above 75 to 60%, basically allowing most of your bloodstream to become metallic, or coursing with these nanites, your body can somewhat overclock itself beyond human limits. A pilot's done it before, and in fact he used to be a former senator, so, well, that wasn't very fun. Metal Gear Solid Easter egg. Yes, I did just do that. Now then, along with that, he is actually the reason why the tech was considered to be disbanded and somewhat hidden. Now, I know you won't abuse these, but please just keep it in mind, as Deku would just walk over to the table, laying down. As soon as he lays down, Mei and Hasashi, they would help take this piece off of Deku's back, as Deku actually tries moving his feet without it. Deku would at least have a bit of feeling, as Hasashi would just see his toe twitch, him somewhat wanting to shed a tear, but holding it back. Now, Deku would get this piece connected into his back as he actually just turned on his quirk. He tries focusing on the nanites as he's able to somewhat find one, or at least keep track of it flowing through his bloodstream. Whenever it hits his spine, he actually does try getting his quirk to replicate more, as his dad would somewhat just see Deku take a deep breath as his eyes would somewhat widen, as he immediately starts breathing very heavily. His dad getting really concerned would just watch as Deku actually is able to stay in control, and actually just move around a bit better, showing off more flexibility and endurance than possible, as Deku would have immediately leaped up into the air and start bouncing off the walls, without even a parkour kit. So, well, it's at least shown improvements. However, he can see the physical strain Deku has whenever he does jump down, as he is panting very heavily. He would just give a thumbs up as he walks out the door. His dad thinking that he did just do something good, right? Well, by good, I mean he's up and about, Hisashi, that's all that matters. Well, I mean, yeah, but we got most of the research team to help him rebuild those things. It was even a bit more difficult, because one of them said they didn't even know what he did to them. Really? Yeah, he made improvements. I actually do want to check them out, though. Especially that Legion one. I think he has one in the process, too, because I remember seeing something on his wall. Another one? Cade's ambitious. Well, I can't fault him for that, and I can't ground him either. But, well, I do at least want him to spend the last couple days resting. To which she would just say that she'll tell Mei to at least try getting that kid to rest. Masashi just somewhat saying thank you. As we will cut to outside. They are all messing around and actually seeing Legion work, as people would just stare at Deku for a second. They're asking exactly where did he go, and well, he would just say that he got something from his dad, as he would somewhat turn around, lifting up his shirt. They would all see that this is actually a smaller and more compact version, but it also is a little bit bulky in some spots. Asking exactly what is that, to where Deku would just say his dad made it for him. His dad, he's one of the best scientists he's ever seen. His quirk allows him to rapidly increase tech and, well, show improvements that take years in nearly a week. Now then, with that being said, Deku, he would just finally call it a night as everyone would leave. He would walk back into the tech lab, seeing that Mei is actually working on something. Deku would have walked over to see her as she would have somewhat gotten spooked, as she was in the zone. Now then, after that happens, Mei, she would just say that she's just about done. She can put the finishing touches on it in a few days, but, well, the last few days. But for now, I need to get you home. To where Deku would somewhat look at her confused. She would just say that you're still recovering. Besides, Your back is somewhat healed, yes, but you still need to stay off your feet. To where Deku would just look at her. He would just put up his hands, saying fine, but that's not going to stop him from creating blueprints. To where she would just say that she didn't expect it to. As for the next couple days, they would just be hanging out. Not in the lab, not really doing anything. Hasashi actually seeing Deku, and Mei somewhat just sitting in the living room, or actually just laying on the carpet, looking up into the air, as BT is showing off what seems to be projections. Deku's parents can't see them, but well, they can see that these two are clearly just moving their hands up in the air and actually messing with things. As from Deku and Mei's perspective, Mei, she's upgraded her goggles and actually gotten them to the point of where Deku's is, with having a bit of holographic tech put into them. She would be basically working on her own separate project, as Deku, he would just occasionally just pass pieces back with her, as she's trying to improve her Hulk Buster, along with Deku actually looking up, seeing exactly what she's been making, as he would go back to his own projects. Now then, let us cut to the sports festival. That took a lot longer than I thought. Now, for this, Deku, he did get his items registered, along with the piece in his spine that's connected to him. Technically, it does increase his performance, but it also allows him to walk. So, there would be paperwork on certain things about it, but the fact that it's considered to be a medical piece could possibly get through. This will allow him to get the paperwork properly passed through immediately, while the rest of it is pending approval. Now, some of his gear would get approved, but, well, limited, as he's only allowed to bring one Titan into the arena. So, he would just pick Legion. Or he's at least limited to one Titan per event, but that wouldn't really stop him. It would at least let him show off capabilities of other Titans. But, well, that being the case, they would somewhat allow it. As the support course, Deku takes classes on sometimes, or at least with sometimes, they would have immediately just tried submitting crazier and crazier tech, close to and actually nearby to what Deku and Mei have created. Now, let's just say that he's only allowed to use one Titan per event. Let's continue then. Deku and Mei, they have gotten done with everything they needed to do. Mei actually getting more and more things improved. So let's begin. Deku, he would walk on a stage, as people are staring at him. His movements seem to be a bit slow, but, well, they can't really blame him, as some students are actually whispering and talking about exactly this guy. As he would just pick up the microphone and say that his name is Izuku Midoriya. Now, whenever this school started and I was in this course, it was a bit interesting. Most people know me as the pilot wannabe, as a lot of people in the crowd would somewhat start talking to themselves and with each other. He would just say but that's far from the truth. In fact, during the USJ, whenever the villains attacked us, me and my friend, Mei, as he would just point down to a girl with pink hair, he would just say that we used machinery. We used Titans. I used what I built from what I've seen in museums and in pictures, and she built what she could. In fact, she built them differently from what I built because she thought she would copy me, and she didn't want that. That's what I admire her for. As he would go on with a speech saying that he plans to bring back the good days of the hero organization, the part that they shut down unfairly. Titans used to be quirkless people that didn't do the job because they wanted to be famous. They did it because they thought it was a good way to work. Going unrecognized, and even when they do go recognized, you just see a helmet. You don't see a face. Showing that even you can be behind that very helmet. Besides, as he would just hold up his, he would someone just pull up his shirt, and people would see the burn marks, along with the scars. As he would turn around, saying that during the whole thing, he got his back broken. Now, it has been 2 weeks, but it still hurts. The piece in my back, it's medical tech. Now, it's made by the very people that all of you somewhat hated and turned away. Because the bad apples ruined the bunch. People are talking, and this is what Deku would just say, they all know what he means, correct? There are villains out there who have different quirks. You got one, like Endeavor, probably shoots fire. You probably got a guy who can brainwash people. That's not a villainous quirk. That's a good one. Underrated, just like as he would point out to Shinsho, saying him. And you got people who, hell, they got crazier quirks. Yet, they can be similar to pro heroes. And they're villains. Yet, because they kept selling the tech, it ruined everything. So, that is whenever Deku would sit down the microphone and walk off stage. People are confused, but they would understand what Deku means. His whole rant was basically about how you can be villainous, you can be good. But it can ruin your image if taken the wrong way. So it kind of made sense. Now then, the race would begin. Deku and Mei, just being up front, would be ready. As Mei would press a button on her wrist. Well, both of them actually. As two gauntlets would form. And her gear, she would pull up her pants legs and immediately start by laying down and actually taking out pieces of metal. People being confused by this, she would just do so as she slips one thing out of her sports festival jacket. A mask, as nanotech forms the rest of the helmet. This is Ironheart, for those of you who do not know. Basically, in the comics, after Tony Stark died, he was brought back eventually, but they had a girl named Rory Williams, who replaced him as Iron Man for a little while. Well, Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr., basically took the passenger seat as a Jarvis AI. Yes, I just said that. At one point, Iron Man was his own AI for an Iron Man. It's crazy. Now then, back to it. This is whenever Deku, he would just stare at her for a second, as he actually does call in a Titan. As soon as President Mike would say go, this is whenever a titanfall would happen. Todoroki, he would have blast ice across the stage, as the incoming Titan would have smashed through and actually destroyed part of it, allowing people to go flooding through as they somewhat cramped together. Mei would have to wait till she gets outside the tunnel to actually use her device, her armor. While Deku, he would immediately just run straight for the Titan, jumping in and immediately sliding down a helmet, as he connects with North Star. As soon as that happens, he immediately gets North Star to take off with the improvements he has on North Star's back. North Star's flight system was bad and somewhat wonky to begin with, because it wasn't made to fly continuously. After improving it and adding some nanotech to help reroute certain things and create more effective versions of certain items, he was finally able to fix it, as he goes flying. Everyone will be watching this giant device just go overhead, as they would see something else fly over him. Well, fly over them. It's smaller though. Deku, he would just turn around, or at least the camera would just shift backwards as Deku would look to see Mei flying right behind him. Deku would just open a comm system and say that she's really determined, isn't she? Well, of course I am. Now, BT would just alert Deku to an oncoming projectile, as Deku immediately just somewhat does a barrel roll, immediately flying to the right, as Mei was a bit confused. She would have done one to the left, but still got one of her legs caught up in ice, as she would just turn her arms, smashing into it, breaking through it and beginning to fly once again. Deku coming in first, Mei coming in second, Todoroki and Bakugo somewhat tying for third. Now, as soon as that happens, Bakugo would be annoyed, but, well, he can't really blame himself. So, that's kind of where this changes. Now, for the Cavalry battle, Deku is not using a mech, since, well, that's technically cheating, if he were to just put on the band and jump inside the mech. So, he cannot use one. Now then. This is where Deku, he would just say that that's fine, as he gets ready with the helmets. He would just ask BT to create an aerial map and scan to see what he can do. BT would listen as he would somewhat create a simulation, basically mapping out certain points where people can go, and changing them based on their movements. Now, BT, well, Deku, Mei, I want to say Bakugo, but Bakugo would be a bit reluctant. But let's say he's on their team. Another person. Let's see. Yeah, I believe Jiro. She would actually walk up to them and asking them if they're still looking for team members. To which they would say yes, as she would join them. She's actually talking with Deku, asking him what exactly can he do with his quirk. She keeps asking questions while Mei, she's just looking at this happen. She would just have her nanotech retract as she actually just pulls the visor. She just says outright if she's gonna ask Deku to improve her hero gear, then, well, just ask. To which she would just say thank you. Well, it's just, I've been thinking about asking you guys for quite a while, but, well, as she basically goes on ranting a bit, saying that with everything that's happened, she's been a bit busy trying not to mooch off of them, or, well, mooch off of anyone. Besides, after Deku kind of saved them at the USJ, as she continues on. As President Mike would just scream, begin. Now, after that happens, Bakugo, he is holding back as he's asking Midoriya if he can think of a good way to use his quirk. To where he would just say that he can think of a few, but that may not work. To which he continues. Now, Deku would just tell BT that if he can find a way for Bakugo to use his quirk, do it. To which BT would just say, diverting himself to this task would decrease the effectiveness of these actions that people may be taking against you in this current predicament. Do you want to proceed? To which Deku would say yes. BT immediately beginning a secondary task. Now, eventually this would go a bit like canon. However, Deku would be the writer, as Mei and Shiro and Bakugo are the horses. They are actually just somewhat moving around, Jiro using her quirk by just having Mei open up her, while holding out her arm and Jiro connecting it in. As Mei would have just turned her hand, blasting sound waves directly at their opponents. They would be impressed watching this. Now, a lot of the judges are judges. Well, no. A lot of the big name companies are actually seeing these two work, along with a kid with, well, basically raw knowledge of the piloting program, who basically just learns by flying from the seat, flying from the seat of his pants. It's pretty crazy. So a lot of them are actually marking down his name along with Mei's. Since nanotechnology, it's new, but it's not used, since dealing with it's annoying. Now, this is where Deku and his team would come in first place, Todoroki's team being a bit annoyed, as Todoroki does one thing. He would have pulled Bakugo aside before the matches start, asking him if he is All Might's secret love child. To which he would have to say no. He has nothing to do with All Might, and, well, even if he did, he wouldn't tell him shit. To which Todoroki would be a bit confused, asking exactly why. Your quirk is the same, yet you don't have control. It's strength enhancing and, well, explosions. Doesn't make sense. Now, Deku, he would just walk up, as he was actually nearby when this conversation happened. He would just pop out from behind a corner and tell Todoroki that, for as long as he's known Bakugo, he has not been any someone's secret love child. Hell, I've met his dad. I've met his mom. If you see his mom, you really wouldn't think that. Besides, as Deku would go on saying that, Todoroki, he's an endeavor, so I have a question. After learning who your dad was, why don't you use your fire? To which he would give these two an explanation. To where Deku would just say, that's neat. Well, I can tell you one thing. I've been trying to make a certain experimental tech before, and sometimes it goes a bit crazy and wonky and out of the box. So, here. As he would just hold up a blueprint, saying that it's not pretty, but, well, at least look at it. As Todoroki would. As Deku would walk away. He just stares at this for a second, as he's not even sure what this is supposed to be. Now, that is where I'm going to be leaving this part off of, guys. I do hope you enjoyed the video, and have an amazing day. I'll catch you guys in the next part.